Welcome to Iron Age Marketing, your weekly dose of inspiration and wisdom, helping coaches, creatives, and business owners alike build authority and generate leads through podcasting. I'm Nicky P, and welcome. Welcome, everyone, to Iron Age Marketing Podcast. I am Nicky P, here as always. This is going to be the rebrand since I've decided, I've spent 2 years talking to authors, and as much fun as that's been, I want to change directions. So in the effort of changing directions, I'm here with the competition, the villain of everyone's world. I have Mr. Vince Quinn here, who is also a podcast producer extraordinaire. SBX Productions, I believe, is the company. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about yourself and where you come from there, Vince?
So first off, I'm a big, scary, evil guy for sure. I have Thanos-like qualities in multiple dimensions, in multiple universes. When I snap my fingers, bad things happen. But beyond that, But I mean, it's cool because like we've been talking for I don't know how long. Has it been like a year maybe that we've been in touch?
I'm a dad with an 11-year-old, so it could be a year, it could be 3 months. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm a space brain that never knows what day it is. So, but it like in the same space, right? So, like you said, with competition, podcast production, I work with a lot of small business owners, coaches, consultants, people who are the face of their business. And how can we use this show for marketing? What's the cool way that you can show off who you are, what you do, connect with the right people, whether that's your audience, a potential customer, or referral partners. You know what I mean? Just like all the cool things that you can get out of podcasting. How do we make that happen? That's all I do.
Weird, because that's what I do.
Whoa.
Am I here today to send all of my would-be clients your direction?
I hope not. For your sake, I hope not, right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, for my sake, I hope not as well. But the reason I wanted to start things off this way is because and I think the buzzword gets used a little bit too much these days. But the bottom line is, because of where we find ourselves kind of in this part in history, it's hard to argue that it is the most important word that we're all going to deal with, and that's authenticity. Like I have no problems having on the competition as it would be, because when it comes to sales, there's a right salesperson for everybody. I firmly believe that. And I know that my people are not necessarily going to be your people. We've talked a few times in the past, prior to the episode, and I can guarantee my background and your background are wildly different. And so I know that the people that just in conversation that we're going to attract and resonate with are going to be different. What is your background? So we can give an example for people.
I mean, I did 10 years of sports talk radio. So like it's kind of a wild lane to be in, but I that's what I did. I did everything in the building. I mean, I started in promotions where I'd spin the wheel at events and set up the tent and drive a van that had the station logo on it. I was doing stuff where I was doing news updates for the sports station. I was setting up the show on location at casinos and bars and all sorts of places, and then hosting shows. And I did that in Philly. I did that nationally. And so I did that for quite a while, and it was, it's funny how this all works. Believe it or not, I actually got my radio hosting job because I was hosting a podcast, and this is like 2016. You know what I mean? Like it was so backwards then for it to happen that way then, but that's what happened. I was hosting a podcast, and that's what got me on the air.
Somebody in that department did not know what they were doing. Either that, or they were hoping you could just bring in all of the skills and teach everybody, get them out of the past there. But I guess the reason I bring this up is because when Vince says sports talk radio, and I was immediately like, that is the most boring thing I could possibly imagine, knowing full well what a huge business that is. But in the same vein, if I tell you like, yeah, I come from music and really into Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering. And he's like, what kind of a weird person finds themselves doing the exact same thing that I do? And for just that reason, like I know that we're gonna resonate differently with people.
Yeah, and that's part of it, right? Like, you come through things with different perspectives and different angles of a skill. Like, I always look at this as, like, if you look at color palettes, right? Like, you can customize these LED lights that are behind me right now. Like, it's this big color wheel, and you can just click and drag your finger anywhere on that wheel, and you're getting different degrees of blue and purple and pink and white, and like you can do the different intensity of it, and it's all just within that circle. And like music and the way that you handle sound and the way that you process it in your ear versus my ear and the kinds of things that you take as those influences. What are the shows that you liked? What are the bands that you listen to? What makes you choose that kind of music? How long do you want it to run for? How do you edit it in and out? How particular are you about that? Right? Like, yeah, all those things are like these certain little tiny slices of life and experience that they all chart. They like when you put everybody together, you get that circular palette. You know what I mean? But everybody's got their own specific space and style. And the more that you pay attention to the space, the more you realize that about the other people that you meet.
Well, and I think so much of what like what I do on a day to day, I can't speak for you necessarily, is that so much of the job is teaching what I'm trying to exemplify right here to our customers. Like the whole point in doing what you're doing, probably the best thing a podcast gives you is the ability to put out an honest signal to people. And I always use the signal to noise ratio and trying to put out the strongest signal that is the most you, because that's going to be the thing that differentiates you from everybody else in your field. It's going to be the thing that like why you draw versus like push somebody away client wise. I guess, does that resonate with like your experiences in the business?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, it's all you've got. Honestly, like you have to think about this whole landscape that we're in, especially now, right? I mean, there's so many people that are like, you're solopreneur, you're very small business, less than 10 employees. Like you're the face of the business. You've got to make all this stuff work. You might not have a major marketing budget to work with. You might not really have a marketing budget at all. So like you've got to make every dollar really count as much as you can. And the best way that you do that is to be very clear about who you are, what you do, why you do it, and who you do it for. And if you can do those things, then like you can't be matched and you're going to resonate with people. And that's really the biggest thing, right? Like Pepsi, everybody knows what Pepsi is because they have $1 billion in advertising every single year. And they have from the beginning of the company, it feels like, to now. Like they're just everywhere. You can't escape it. When you can't plaster the Super Bowl with your logo, and there's sports radio coming in, when you can't do that, then yeah, you need to find ways to connect. And it's just, yeah, like, hey, this is me. This is what I'm about. Here's how I help you. Here's why I'm going to help you do it this way. And you like it or you don't. It's your process. It's your style. It's the thing that you think you need. It's your strengths or it's your weaknesses, depending on what you're looking for. And it just makes it easy to find out what the fit is.
Well, what's interesting is like, so in the background, I come from music, as I've said, and people don't realize why pop music is the way pop music is. Like the whole idea behind pop music, frankly, is we put a ton of money behind this stuff and we play it until people like it, because there's a thing that triggers in your brain after you hear a song so many times it begins to feel familiar, and familiarity breeds like fond feelings for things. And so it is literally just the whole heavy rotation concept is designed to make you like stuff that you may not naturally like, as opposed to getting that authentic thing where it's like you go out to a club and you hear something that genuinely touches you, or you catch something on a friend's radio like, wow, that's just so interesting. And you'll have like bands that'll grind forever to like get those 10,000 fans, but those 10,000 fans that they get, like they're ride or die. They're there forever. Like they're bought in because you have the authenticity versus the blanket. Why do I watch just Sabrina Carpenter or whoever it is? Okay, it's another blonde girl with a nice ass singing a song that's about the same quality of value to me as cotton candy. Like, sure, sugar sweet tastes good, but is it improving my life in any real way? No.
Yeah. And that is the cool thing is when you hear that song and it does resonate, you're like, oh, like this is it. Like I love this song and like let me go play this a million times now and let me go figure out more that they've got. Let me listen to that album that that song's on. Let me go and check what their most popular album is. Maybe it's not the same thing. Like you just you go into this rabbit hole and you want more and it's a natural curious sense of exploration. And that's really my goal with like all the stuff that I'm doing. It's just, hey, I'm going to be here. I'm a total nerd about this stuff. Like I love podcasting. I've got a clear passion for it. I've got all these opinions about what makes a show great and how you can go about it and tricks you can do. And so hopefully one of these things is I'm covering this because it's a wide, crazy, technical, like nuanced world. For as much as people are like, oh, it's just people talking, like it's not a big deal. Like it's like it's crazy explicit. And so
As huge of an industry as it is, and it's still a growth industry at this point. Like that's what's wild to me. Like I wrote an essay on this in like college back in like 2006 on like the future of podcasting for advertising, and it's like to think where I was writing about that, 21 years ago or whatever, 20 years ago, to like where things have ended up now. It's like, oh my god, like nobody knew what this thing was gonna be, and even to say like when I started doing it 10 years ago, the landscape's completely different. Like how like back then, like it was mostly creative things. It wasn't until probably like the last 2 or 3 years you start seeing more and more entrepreneurs entering the space and realizing, oh my god, the real value for me to be able to tell my story is right here. And like even if it's just something like a limited run of podcasts, we don't have to try and keep concurrent all the time. Just being able to get out there and in small, concise moments tell your story to talk to the people that are going to hear that and like resonate with that. It's amazing how it's come to that place.
yeah, it does so many things so well, so easily. And to just be like, oh, I can sit down for an hour. I can meet somebody that's a great connection. I can get like 3 to 5 killer points off myself and get those sound bites. I'm going to get all the stuff from my guests too. And I can post these things on every single social platform. I can convert them into a newsletter. I can be on YouTube and every major platform. It's just like, it's crazy that you can execute all of that. You can do it from home with quality and at an affordable rate. Like it's just it's such a beautiful thing and it becomes so common sense of like if you have any sort of personality and willingness to market yourself and be that kind of person and that kind of business, like it's really nuts to say no, you know?
So one thing I'm curious about, like, 'cause anytime I get to talk to somebody else who does this, it's always interesting to hear what their experiences are. What do you think the biggest hurdles are when you're talking to a new client? They may or may not have experience with podcasting, and you're trying to, I want to say, like, find the vision, but more than that, help them find the honesty in themselves. You know, I think some people are still too caught up in that Coke versus Pepsi world where they think everything has to be sugar sweet and everything has to look perfect all the time. And there's a certain degree to which almost it's the nuances and like the negatives. And I would say not negatives, but like the failures and the things that make you seem more human that like really helps sell in my experience. It's like when people can see you as not the Walmart of the world, not the big corporate entity within the system. Like it humanizes you and immediately draws on that part of people that wants to help other people.
Yeah. It's voice, right? Yeah, it's genuine voice, and with that, it sets really a definition of like everything that you provide. I mean, the first thing, like for my show, if you looked at the description for it, the first thing that it says is forget sponsors, sell more, right? Like that's that's a strong opinion. And I do that intentionally because it's like everybody has this mindset of, yeah, I'm going to do this big popular show and I'm going to make all this money through sponsors and all this stuff. And it's like, no, you're a business. Everything that everybody's telling you about this or what you think the path is based on your common sense experience of watching entertainment shows is wrong. And like you need to go and build your business and your brand and your marketing, and everything needs to be around selling that way through a show. That's what it has to be. And to be able to set those kinds of opinions and like on some level just be more specific and explore why you feel certain things, why you like or don't like certain stuff. The more you examine those opinions, the stronger you look because it's like, okay, well, I don't like this software. Well, why don't you like this software? Well, it's incredibly disorganized. Okay, so how does that impact me? Well, it's like, well, it turns out that, you're half as efficient as you could be on their competitor because the way they lay everything out here is terrible. And it's like, all right, well, that's specific. Now I know exactly why you think about this. I can see you've got experience. I can learn from that, and I'm going to more likely trust you on other things because you are very much in touch with who you are. And that's truly, I think, mastery of like any sort of opinionated or personal expression kind of thing is like you have to really know deep down why you think and feel what you do. And the better you can express that, the better off you're going to be.
Is a lot of the job for you getting people more in touch with that part of themselves when you're going through the process, like getting people to be willing to open up and not just kind of stock speech everything like, oh, here's my 30-second soundbite that I give for this question every time somebody answers it, as opposed to, being real.
Yeah, I think depth is a hard thing because people they're not typically pushed to have to do that. You don't have to think that way very often, right? It's not important. It's not essential for communication. As long as you get enough that you can say to your boss or if you're, let's say you've got a piece of software that you're dealing with and you don't like it. A lot of times you might just complain to your coworker. They're like, "Hey, this thing stinks," but you don't have to tell anybody about it. Indeed, you're not presenting a report. You know what I mean? So like for a lot of that stuff, yeah, people aren't conditioned to think that way. And you have to train people on no, let's dig deeper. Why is this? What is this? Oh, okay. So what you're really saying is this. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's exactly it. And it's like, okay, well, there's your episode. So I think that's part of it. And then, like, the other part is getting people to understand how specific and zoomed in they need to be on things that they think are uninteresting. Like you have to like when you're a true expert, you need to explain in detail what the letter A is. You know what I mean? Like here's the letter A. It is 2 points and it has a line in the middle and this is how you draw the letter A and this is why the letter A is important and here's what it sounds like. Like you need to do that.
I mean, personally, I would dispute that description, but whatever.
Sure. Well, why? Competitor? Competitor? Yeah, let's talk about it. Why?
That's kind of the point. Well, you said 2 points, but really it's three lines. Two radiating out of a single point with one halfway down the end there, and this whole 2 points bit.
I'm poorly explaining the letter A. You are completely correct. Yeah. So it is 1 point. It's yeah one. We have one angle. One major triangular angle in the line in the middle. But yeah, like that's it, right? Like it's you've got to so much more than the average person, and the most basic thing to you is mind blowing for somebody else, and you need to really explain that and like stretch it almost because it's more valuable than you think.
Well, speaking of mind blowing, like even just now when you're describing the depth and reaching into people, it's funny because I think maybe it's a misconception. Maybe it's like the traditional conception is that marketers are like they're surface level people. They're put on the smile, the hi, the wave, come buy this product. Cool, you're in, I'm out. Let's go get the next person. And maybe that's the way marketing worked before like I found my way to the business, but I've yet to see that work other than like maybe at the Pepsi level where you've got a war chest. Like it doesn't seem like maybe things are the polar opposite of the way that we're taught to think they are when it comes to this.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the world has changed because, and so has the conventional wisdom, right? Like it's had to adapt with it, and it hasn't fully yet. Because before it was, you're on the radio and it's a big deal, and there's only so many stations that are popular, and you're on TV and there's only so many channels, or it's cable, and like now it's a million channels, it's all the streaming platforms, it's TikTok, it's Snapchat, it's Instagram, it's YouTube, it's Apple, it's like so when it's like, oh, okay, you need to be everywhere, well then yeah, like it is a whole different approach because you don't necessarily have that budget, and those companies have that budget on all of those platforms too. You know what I mean? So it's like you're getting insane competition everywhere. How do you possibly build something that can really cut through on all of those places organically, that's easy to produce and is authentic to you? Like it's a hard thing to do, and it's taken a long time to get to this point where guys like us are like, no, there's a way to do it, and you can do it consistently. And I'm starting to see more and more people that are our competitors, right? Like for both of us, it's gotten to be a more crowded market because more people see the value in it and have the technical skills and are making the jump into the pool.
Well, and even for you having followed you, like your business has changed very drastically over the past couple years. Like what you were doing 2 years ago is not necessarily what you're doing now.
No, it's totally different. I mean, so even when I first got in 5 years ago, I was a local studio business that was helping entertainment shows, and we were a terrible failing business. And I had to completely reroute everything. And now, like, we have some studio spaces that we still operate, but we are primarily marketing for business shows, and we are national now, or you can even say international. And like, if we get somebody local, great. You know what I mean? But it's just like a complete inverse of where we were before and the way we thought about things, because I came from radio. It was outdated. It was old. It was wrong. And I had to learn all of those things myself, and the landscape was changing. So it's just like, it was a crazy time to make that leap. You know what I mean?
What's funny is like I went to college, full disclosure. I have my degree is actually in media management and production. And the idea was that, oh, you get out of this program, this communications program, and then you go work in radio. But I know full well that any job I got in radio is going to be a minimum wage job, because in 2006 that market was dying like like as fast as it could go down the tubes. It was already doing that. So I'm like, well, there's no point in trying to get into a system that can't handle the people it already has. It's like offloading talent left and right. And so once again, there's just the shift in everything over the years. It's been pretty wild.
Yeah, that kind of thing with radio is part of the reason why I got out of the industry myself. I'm looking around and I'm going, well, jobs are getting cut all the time, and when you think about it, like, salaries aren't really going up, and especially not at the rate they were before. And so, am I going to invest my career in this? You know, even 10 years in, like I was 10 years in with a national show, and I still looked around and I'm like, you know what? I don't think the future is good here for me, and I'd rather leave and do something I don't know anything about on a deep level. So, which, yeah, because I just never run a business. I knew nothing about it. So like, it was kind of a crazy thing for me to do, but seeing where things have progressed 5 years since, for all the mistakes I've made, I'm glad I did it.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on here, Vince, and help me inaugurate this new rendition of the Airnews Marketing Podcast. If anybody who's, swayed over to your side, where can we send them to?
Yeah, so easiest way to get in touch is freepodcasthelp.com. That's where I do everything. It's a chance to get free 30 minutes with me.
I love a good URL.
Right?
Love a
Oh
good
my God, it
URL.
was the best. I was so happy with it. Freepodcasthelp.com. You can't beat it. So yeah, go check it out. Set up a 30-minute call. Happy to say hi, learn more about your show. I give you some direction on what you need to get moving.
Right on, boss. Well, you have yourselves a good afternoon. To everybody else, you as well.